Well, hello, everyone. This is Anthony with Orange County Realtors, and I just wanted to welcome everybody today to our webinar on how to become a virtual agent or broker in today's business. Just real quickly, an introduction of who I am. My name is Anthony. I work at Orange County Realtors. Been there now over 17 years, started off in the MLS department. So I know guaranteed I'll speak to everyone attending today regarding rules, regulations, violations, all that fun stuff. What I'm also involved with is our outreach program. Our outreach program is designed to give you training on all your tools and products. So not only do I train on MLS, how to run searches, add and modify listings, things like that, but I also know or train on zip forms, how to put together your transactions electronically, how to digitally sign contracts, so on and so forth. And of course, I also give training on technology. I love giving training on technology. So with that said, today's topic is all about how to become a virtual agent broker in today's business, especially with what we're going through with today. So we're just going to go over a couple of things real quick. The office life has super changed over the years, right? Back in the 70s, 80s, even 90s, you got up in the morning, you got dressed, you put on a nice suit, tie, nice work outfit, you went to work, and you sat in your office between maybe 8 in the morning to 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. Real estate industry was the same way, was no different than any other office, whereby we would just show up, we'd go through our list of contacts, we'd start making our business cook, we'd make our calls, cold call, this, that, and the other. To over the years, progressing to on the right side of the picture here, the office is virtually empty. Nowadays, brokerages have actually started to get rid of the brick and mortar to save money, where now they allow agents to work online, not have to come into the office. But what we're going through today, even though those offices or some offices still have the brick and mortar, I can tell you from personal experience, when I go to visit a lot of offices nowadays to give training, that the offices seem virtually empty. I don't even see, you know, one person in one office anymore or in a bay a lot of times, unless they're there for a training hosted by me or their broker is, giving training given by me. Agents very rarely ever come into the office, right? Now, real quickly, we're going to go over how we go from the left side to the right side of having to go into the office to not necessarily having to go in the office. Anybody remember the printed MLS? Prior to 1984, MLS was on printed books, and a lot of times, even before the MLS was even created, this was something that the offices themselves did, the individual brokers, right? About every 2 weeks or so, they actually came out with their own booklet for their own agents to actually, show the agents what's actually on the market that's, offered by their company, things like that. And then eventually a lot of brokers ended up becoming really wise about this because printing out books was super expensive for an individual agent. But then all of a sudden, brokerages started to get together and they developed their very first MLS multiple listing service system, whereby groups of brokers started to work together to share property information with each other for agents to work together, cooperate with each other to buy and sell homes, right? Now, what was really key about that was that not everybody had access to this information, especially the members of the public. This was all for an agent. So a customer, whether they're a seller or a buyer, had to work with a real estate agent in order to buy and sell property. And really the big thing that caused this was the cost of computers. Computers by 1984 cost-wise ranged from the very basic system to just let you do type, books, which was about $9,000 to $25,000. Huge expense for someone, right? A $25,000 computer actually gave you a dial-up modem to quote unquote access the internet at the time. And if anybody remembers anything like that, dial-up was super funny. You actually had to have a phone in your house where you stuck it on this modem thing to be able to give your computer internet access. And yet nobody could call you at home. Your phone line was busy because it was using the phone line to give your computer internet. Now, some of you may be attending today may not remember that far back because maybe you were born in the 90s or 2000s. If you were born in the 90s, or actually if you were born in the late 80s, 90s, where you were just getting into the business, you probably remember this: the stellar MLS, the DOS-based MLS system that we had. It came out of late 80s, early 90s, but I would say around 1993 is when real estate agent really started to incorporate technology in its business. The first experience with a DOS-based MLS system with technology, right? The printed book all of a sudden started going away because they realized printing out booklets of information every couple of weeks was super costly, especially when the real estate world was growing and agents were just coming into the market. So computer technology, where multiple agents could have access to data all through their computers, instant access to each other's information to cooperate with each other, became very easy. And what made this possible was that computers became way more affordable. I would say by 2002, when I started getting into the real estate world, was when I noticed that agents were still buying their very first personal computer, and it was costly, between $1,000 to $2,000 for them to have access. Now, eventually we started progressing, whereby eventually by 2005 was the first introduction of the Internet Based MLS system. And if those of you who have been Orange County members probably remember Tempo. Tempo was around the very first MLS internet-based system. This was the introduction and changed our entire world to what we're dealing with today, right? Computers started to be more affordable and still are to this day. Public had total access to the internet and, of course, information, which is why the internet-based MLS system was so game-changing for your industry that you had to adapt, because now your listings went out to all these third-party websites that the members of the public had access to. So they have access to all of this data. We were there to be able to still work with clients, right? Agents' reach became so much broader today because of the internet, because of the internet-based MLS. And of course, agent cooperation now goes from county or regions to now statewide or eventually nationwide. So this is where technology has made this possible, right? Look at what's available to us today. We have computers. I can imagine, everybody's got at least one or two computers in their house. Everybody has access to the internet, which makes what I'm doing today very possible. We all have mobile devices, which was really super game changing in our industry, right? Not only can we open our lock boxes, but we can now search the MLS, look for properties on the MLS, all through our phones and tablets. We can even write up and sign contracts on our mobile and tablet devices. Social media has been a game changer in your industry since 2005, right? Facebook business page, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. Blockchain is another game changer coming down the pike, where it's all about instant information. AI, artificial intelligence, Alexa, Siri, Google Home, all these particular tools that are available to us. Not to mention, cameras are way more affordable, high definition. We don't have to process film. Virtual reality is a big game changer today, and so much more. Because technology has been integrated in both our home and our professional lives. There's no way around tech. We have it involved in our lives. Now, one thing, and sorry, I didn't mean to jump to the next one, but this really comes down to now, you've probably have heard terms of disruptors, right? For the past 2 or 3 years, we've heard disruptor this, disruptor that, right? And that's usually based on company models, right? The 1%ers were a disruptor in our business. The iBuyer platforms are disruptors in our business, right? Well, think of the biggest disruptor today, the COVID-19 or coronavirus, right? This was a super major disruptor in all of our lives, not just in our business, but also in our home lives, right? Funny enough, the infection rate has been so outrageous and has caused people to totally react to this epidemic or pandemic, right? As a matter of fact, we've reacted in such a way that it feels like we're in the zombie apocalypse. If you've ever watched The Walking Dead or seen any zombie movie like Dawn of the Dead or whatever, that zombie life has totally disrupted our entire lives, right? And we treat this coronavirus as such a big disruption in our lives, and we feel that things aren't normal. Well, what's helping with that, or what's not helping with that? Funny enough, California, like with many other states right now, have issued the stay-at-home order. Now, the stay-at-home order here for California basically states that all Californians, families or singles, should be staying at home and not going to work, right? Except for essential services or businesses should remain open, like the electric company, the water company, the internet companies, the trash companies, and things like that have been deemed as essential businesses. The stay-at-home order also says that there should be really no gathering of groups of people of more than about 10 people. As a matter of fact, it's probably even said no more than 2 or 3. And this order was issued back in March 19th, right? And hopefully, knock on wood, this will eventually change. So where does real estate fall into this? Now, currently, what businesses were deemed closed or supposed to be closed as non-essential? Well, dine-in restaurants, right? Because restaurants, you have gatherings of large groups of people of more than 10, bars and nightclubs, so people shouldn't be going out to the bar having a drink. And of course, your social life is now being interrupted. You can't go out dancing and socializing. Entertainment venues like Boomers up in Irvine, where you can't get together and play games with your kids and outings, or even better, worse yet, go to the movie theater, because now it's an enclosed space. You know, you're breathing each other's air, can't go on the flights, gyms, fitness platforms, public events like concerts we can't be going to, and of course, convention centers, things like that. Ultimately, Governor Newsom's order requires that all non-essential businesses be temporarily closed. There's talk currently, however, and I just heard recently that real estate is being looked at as a essential business right now. And there's talk about it because currently people still need to buy, rent, and sell their property. So this is a major key factor, not to mention those other businesses that are associated with real estate like title, lender, and escrows. So Governor Newsom is working with the state legislator to look at real estate as, is this a vital business that does need to remain open for people to still be able to live or live somewhere? So that's what we're looking at now. And I would look at the current news articles to make sure. So does this mean that life stops, especially if they decide, you know what, real estate is not essential, is a non-essential business? No. Like all life's creatures, we have to adapt and overcome the current circumstances, right? Life will go back to normal. We have to believe in that. We have to have faith in that. And if you're watching, on YouTube or TV, the news announcements and the coronavirus updates and all this, one thing that I've noticed that our president and the people that are working with the president keep saying is life will get back to normal. Businesses have to open up again because we just can't stop, right? Life just can't stop. We're going to be able to do things, but we're just going to have to do it a little bit differently than what we're used to, right? Young and old. We got to be mindful of a lot of things, right? So how does a real estate agent and a broker adapt and overcome to these restrictions, right? How do we maintain our performance in this industry, being the top producers, being a brand new agent just trying to get started? How do we adapt and maintain our performance in these changing times when face-to-face interaction with clients has become more challenging. We need to become the virtual agent. We, right now, is the time as an industry that we need to take advantage of the current technologies available to us to make our businesses even more successful than what they already are. I know a lot of people have been delaying this next step for such a long time, and now is the time, and we're kind of forced, just like the progression of technology, we were forced to adapt to that tech. Today, with our tech available to us, we are forced to utilize this technology in our business to become even better agents than what we already are, right? Here's how we're going to do this. Now, I usually tell agents, you don't have to do everything all at once. You don't have to become an expert at everything all at once. We're going to take this in steps. We're going to take this in stages, okay? And we're going to tackle this in a few ways. One, marketing yourself virtually. Here, and I'm going to move my camera page so you can see this a little bit better. Social media marketing is going to be even bigger than what we're already used to. I know social media marketing today, a lot of people have stressed over the past 5, 6, 7 years how important social media marketing is today, right? It's now even more important because if you can't meet face-to-face, or it's more difficult to meet face-to-face, this is where we need to take advantage of our tools, right? We can't go out and door knock anymore, or we shouldn't, necessarily be door knocking right now or anything like that. Well, we have other tools available to market. We have Facebook businesses page, right? Doing our targeted ads, doing our Facebook live videos, connect with our likes and request them to be friends to be able to connect and build relationships. We have Instagram, sharing those pictures of your moments, the views, the communities. You can still get out in your car, drive up to the lake, or drive out to a view, the mountains, the walking trails, and take pictures and talk about the community still. But funny enough, Instagram, just like Facebook has Instagram live TV, so you can also do video from your Instagram. You also have, you also have access to LinkedIn. LinkedIn's another social media portal that allows you to connect with business people and professionals. So people that are still working, that haven't been fired or haven't let go, that are still actually doing business even outside the real estate community, you want to be able to build those connections. And if you haven't started your LinkedIn page yet, I highly recommend it. Connect with those business personalities, just like in Facebook, where you connect with people's personalities, right? The everyday, not only business person, but people that we have common interest with, or common interest with. And of course, most importantly, the number 4, or actually number 2 social media marketing tool that we should be also taking advantage of is our YouTube. Video marketing, right? Doing your live video, doing your virtual tours, doing your recorded updates, things like that you want to get out there, taking advantage of our number 2 search engine in the entire world, number 2 social media platform in the entire world next to Facebook. We have to step out of our comfort zone and sit in front of a camera like I'm doing today to be able to talk to you, our potential clients. Now, there are other tools to help you market as well, and that is podcasting. Funny enough, Facebook Live, Instagram TV, even YouTube will allow you to do a podcast. Now, everybody thinks about podcasting a little bit differently, but honestly, this allows us to host our own shows, just like on any of those other platforms. Podcast does not have to be a video at all. As a matter of fact, it can be audio. It will allow us to connect with other audiences out there in the world to be able to tune into our live shows, whether we're on the video or not. And a lot of times, if you're out there maybe walking, exercising, driving, it's harder to watch a video than it is to listen to you. So your shows should have your business views, right? Interviews of your business, like your title, your lender, your escrow, business owners in the community, maybe interviews with just somebody randomly on the street just to ask how they're doing and what they think is happening in the world. And you have an opinion back and forth. Topics of discussion will be like community updates, events, what it takes to buy and sell a property, maybe what even it takes to get a home inspected to sell. You're going to post that on the internet. You're going to post it to all your social media platforms, things like that. So this is a up and coming source that people are wanting and beginning to take advantage. Because I know you in my audience who don't like sitting in front of a camera don't mind talking audio on the computer. So you whip out a recording and you do a recording instead. You don't have to do a video itself, and you can get it out there as your show. Now, what's next? Your listing presentations and contracts, right? Well, if I can't meet somebody face to face, how do I convince them to list with me? How do I go over contracts with a potential client to go over the specifics to keep up with my fiduciary duty? Well, we're going to implement tools such as Zoom. So how do we do this? Are with programs like Zoom to go over electronically our listing presentation, our contracts from our home in our office. What Zoom is, or programs like Zoom, and Zoom right now is a big push. Which is kind of funny that certain times certain companies get a big push in their marketing. Zoom has been around for about 5 years, just like other platforms that do pretty much the exact same thing as Zoom. Okay, what Zoom is a basically virtual video conference tool that allows you, the conference director or host, to share your desktop with your attendees, right? Zoom actually has a lot of tools to allow you to go over the contracts. You can use a highlighter. You can write on the screen without writing on the contract, and it's fully interactive. You can share your screen between you and your clients, or you and the or other people. It's a great training tool. As a agent who's in leader of a team, you could actually use Zoom to go over certain things and certain methods, like your listing presentation with your team members, or even better yet, your go over contracts to teach them all the ins and outs of what the contracts mean. Your listing presentation, if you have it electronically, like on PowerPoint or Keynote, you can now have all that embedded and ready to go on your computer. So you don't necessarily have to be in someone's physical home to go over your presentation or contracts. So you can do all this. And really, what makes Zoom super popular right now is its affordability. As a matter of fact, Zoom does have a free service that allows you to create a 40-minute long meeting to have with your clients or make a video. But it does have a $14 a month paid service for their pro, which will allow you to create as many video conferences as you want, up to 100 people to sit through your conference if you choose. But most importantly is the time. The free version allows you a 40-minute time frame to have your meeting. But as we all know, sometimes our meetings need to be at least an hour to 2 or 3, depending on our client. This is where the $14 a month comes in. The $14 a month charge that Zoom offers as its professional service allows you to have a 24-hour long meeting if you choose. Not that you would, but at least you could. So right here, our second major tool to be a virtual agent. We can go over contracts virtually or go over listing presentations to connect with our potential sellers, all from the comfort of our home, all from our desktop, using tools like Zoom. Just go to www.zoom.com and sign up for at least a free account and test it out. Try it out. Do it with a couple of friends just to get the buttons down and things like that, but it's really super easy to do. Now, the next thing that we're going to do, showing property. I know right now I'm getting a lot of phone calls from a lot of agents about showing a home. Okay, what can I do to show a home? What can I do to, can I let my photographer in the property? Well, we're going to start with the listing side first. Okay, and this is going to be really super simple, and it'll probably really surprise you how simple this is. So it's great that listing agents actually have a video tour of the home, but because of the restrictions that we have currently with showing or allowing showings in a home, because a lot of our homes nowadays are sellers, the home is seller occupied. And if we're keeping in mind that we need to limit the interaction between even the home to outside people who may or may not be carrying the virus, then we've got to think of something that's just as easy to give access to the home with virtually that goes beyond the 2D photographs. This is where 360 tours and Matterport tours are your options, right? To show potential buyers what is actually inside the property, right? We've got many cameras nowadays that will allow you to do 360-degree video, or the Matterport, which, if you've never heard of Matterport, over here towards the left gives you a dollhouse view of the home as if you were actually in the house. So if I can get this to work, I'm just going to show you what a Matterport tour looks like. And we're going to click on that. So now Matterport's going to open up. Here, I've listed my home. I've actually had the video camera, or I had my photographer do a Matterport tour, and now posting it on my listing or posting it to my property websites or what have you. This is going to be the experience of any buyer going to my website, going to my YouTube channel, or anything like this. So here we are actually in the house. And if we look down at the bottom, and I'm going to highlight this so you guys can see this, or I'm going to circle it. Down below here are some really cool tools. One of which is those VR goggles. And if I have some VR goggles laying around here, I can show you what it looks like. And of course I don't have them here right in front of me. So they're the goggles where you can put on your face, maybe stick your cell phone in, or even just use your cell phone to use the virtual reality goggles. And now what we can do, whoops, is look around the home. I can look up, I can look down. Heck, I can even go from one room to another just by looking, going on the circles, looking from different angles of the room. Maybe I want to walk down the hallway. I'm now taking a tour of the home. I'm in the dining room. This gives me the freedom as a buyer going on the web to now be able to see a home. So, listing agents, this is a great must have in today's world of technology, right? Especially when we're restricted and wanting to keep our sellers' property safe from infection. So what you could do is, in certain cases, maybe the seller doesn't want people to go show homes while the stay-at-home order is in effect. Well, if you're a photographer, or if you've asked your photographer to create a tour like this for you, then what you can now do is send this tour to, say, the buying agent or the buyer's agent, and say, here's a virtual look through the home. And if you really like the home, then we're going to have it as subject to inspection. So now if the buyer is super serious about this property and wanting to go see it, they maybe want to write up an offer. Now at that point, if the offer gets accepted, now at this point, they can go and inspect the home or see the home. So I really like this type of tour. Now, besides this tour, let's go back to the 360. Now, by the way, ask your photographers if they can do tours like this. Now, I know with the Matterport tour, those tend to be a little bit more pricey, but maybe you bought one of these other cameras, a 360-degree camera. This is what this tour looks like. A little bit different. But here, I'm going to show you an agent's listing that I found on YouTube. And here, if I don't want to look at the real estate agent, I can look around, look up and down, and look around the neighborhood. And again, I can use those goggles. I can fast forward through the video. I'm here in the living room. So now I have the capability of, and if I don't even play it, I can pause it and still give myself a chance to look around the home. And if you happen to notice that the real estate agent is looking at the camera, but I, as the viewer, don't have to look at the real estate agent. With tours like this, we have the freedom to go into the rooms in the property and be able to look around freely in a home. So I think tours like this, you should really start to begin to ask your agent, or you as an agent should really ask your photographers if they do or have the capability of doing tours like this. If they say no, then I would probably start to look at another photographer that not only can take beautiful pictures of a property, but give you and your potential buyers or buying agents the capability of being in the home without physically being in the home. Does that make sense? All right, good. All right, next. Listing agents can also schedule a virtual tour of the house or virtual open house. I've actually seen a lot of information about this recently come up because I've had talks with a lot of agents, especially last week, and this really started getting agents to start thinking about this. This is where you're going to be able to do your Facebook Live as a selling agent or as a listing agent, or an Instagram TV Live to host your virtual open house. Okay, take advantage of these tools. You as an agent don't necessarily, or the listing agent do not necessarily need to put up all the road signs anymore with tours like this. So if your client goes, all right, I'll let you do the virtual open house, which, by the way, our MLS just recently updated in our open house section the capability of you as a listing agent scheduling a virtual open house. So the way you're going to do this is that you're going to go into, say, your Facebook business page. In your Facebook business page, just right where it says write a post, there's a choice next to create that says event. You want to schedule an event. This way or that way, when you schedule an event, this will inform anybody who has liked your page. And of course, if you know the power of the like, those likes, their friends and their friends and their friends are notified that you're getting ready or you're going to have an open house on a particular date at a particular time. And you're going to say virtual open house on, say, such and such date. Now, just to show you what I mean, I'm going to leave the presentation super quickly. I'm going to make sure I go for my current slide when we're talking about this. There we go. So I'm going to go right into my Facebook, and we're going to jump right into my Facebook business page. So here I'm going to jump into Facebook. I'm now going to go to my business page, hopefully. There we go. Internet's running a little bit slow for me today. I apologize. So here in your business page, you're going to come down below and you're going to say create an event. When we click on create an event, we're going to basically write up the event name. So virtual open house for 123 Main Street, Mission Viejo. The location will be virtual open house. Or actually, you could probably even put in the street address, but I think the last thing you would want to do is have people show up at the property. So I would probably say location, don't fill it in. The description, hosting a virtual, if I could spell virtual correctly, virtual open house for 123 Main Street, Mission Viejo, California, 9269691. Or yeah, 691. And then looking forward to selling you this beautiful home. However you want. The category, you can leave that blank. That's not required. But here we go. Occurs once. Starts at, say, Friday the 3rd. We're going to host our open house from 1 o'clock. Oops, not a.m., but 1 o'clock p.m. to maybe, I don't know, 2:30. Give a chance for people to chime in, talk about the home. I can walk around, maybe even jump to a room if necessary. I can even put in a co-host. So if one of my team members wants to chime in with me, maybe my title, my lender, or my escrow guy, I'll put them in. I just need to know their user ID for Facebook. And from here, we can add in some keywords for people to find it. And then, of course, at the end, we're going to hit publish. Once we hit publish, this event now goes out to the world for them to check in and say they want to attend. On the day that we have the open house, at that point, we're going to come into our Facebook business page, and now we're going to create a live ongoing event for our likes and people who knew that we were going to be hosting a Facebook Live today, and we're going to click on live, and now we're off to the races. Okay? Now we're going to be able to walk around the home with our phone devices talking about the property. Now, I know a lot of people go, well, that shouldn't take that long. You're right. It shouldn't be that you as listing agents spend 4 or 5 hours at an open house waiting for people to show up. Now, because of the stay-at-home order where interaction now becomes limited, our open house may be an hour to an hour and a half long. So what we're going to do is we're going to be able to talk about the property as if we were actually physically walking around with a real person to every room describing this entire home. And what's really nice about Facebook Live is that as people chime in on the Facebook Live, not only can they see what I'm showing them, but they can even ask live time questions. So if I see a question come up, hey, what schools are nearby, right? Because we're going to go over in this Facebook Live hour-long video, we're going to go over not only the home, all the benefits of living in this home, all what the home's got, what it's like, what the views are, but we're going to also be able to, anything like a home or a lead already asks us, but we're also going to be able to answer questions like community, shops, benefits of living in this neighborhood from our experience, schools. Everybody always asks what schools are nearby. So get familiar with your community. This will actually showcase you as an agent being connected to the community that you're marketing the property in. So I think this is a really huge tool for us as agents to be able to showcase the property. And of course, you've got other people trying, as the likes chime in, maybe they go, well, maybe I've only got a 620 FICO score. Can I get a loan? This would probably be a great opportunity to talk about your lender. Hey, I've got a really great lender. He's got some really great programs. This is what's going on, this, that, and the other. And you're taking each room very slowly and methodically to talk about some of the things like what stays in the home, what doesn't stay in the home, what's included in the list price, what's not included in the list price, things like that. So as listing agents, we've got several really great tools to be able to showcase a property. Now, we can't forget about the buying agent side. So the buying agent side is going to be just as important. Buying agents, you got to go and show the homes every once in a while if you're not getting those tours. So hopefully maybe the listing agent does give you permission, right? So here, these are two great tools to be able to show a home. Do a FaceTime or a Skype video conference with your client from the property, right? Walk around the property with your clients, show them the home as it is. Now, you got to make sure though, however, based on MLS and Code of Ethics articles, that you always get written permission from the listing agent first before you actually do your own Skype session. Now, you as showing agents, you could probably even ask the listing agent to Skype you in. So if the listing agent isn't comfortable with you doing your own Skype session or your own FaceTime session, maybe the listing agent and you can coordinate a time whereby the listing agent and or seller do their own Skype session or FaceTime session, pull you in as a guest where you can then invite, and I do believe you can do this, your clients into the session as well. So now all of a sudden you're daisy chaining the event. So if you're not there physically in the home, but either the listing agent or the seller is, then now you can get them to Skype you or FaceTime you into their home and they walk around the property for you. So ultimately, if you can't be there in the property to showcase the home yourself, which if you've gotten written permission from the listing agent or brokerage to do this, then this is a great tool. So I think that really helps. And again, you as the buying agent, you can use Zoom to go over contracts as well. So you can set up a Zoom session with your client. Okay, we're going to go over writing up and negotiating the offer. Here we go. Share your desktop. You write up the offer right then and there. Now all of a sudden you can send it out for digital signatures to your client. They can now go through the contract, digitally sign the document, you get it back, and now you can send it over to the listing agent and hopefully get accepted and get into escrow. Now, FaceTime and Skype just isn't for showing a home, okay, just so you know. You got to communicate during the entire escrow process. So Skype and FaceTime, listing agent, buying agent side, this is going to be great for the entire escrow process, right? Connect with your title, your escrow, and your lenders virtually. Host a meeting. You can include all 5 entities: clients, escrow, title, and lender. Coordinate with your inspectors, right? Get an inspector to go out to the home. They Skype you or FaceTime you in while they're doing their inspection. Not only are they taking pictures to make for the inspection report, but now connect with them. And heaven forbid, you've got to coordinate a contractor to go and talk about certain things about what you're seeing in the home that needs to be fixed. Do a Skype or FaceTime with those contractors, okay? That way you can fully do your entire business from your home, okay? You don't have to meet a contractor or a painter at a property. If they've got a cell phone, they can Skype or FaceTime through their cell phone while they're either at the property or while you're at the property, and you're showing them what needs to be done, okay? So you can know that you can still do your business. Now, AI, artificial intelligence, is it going to be helpful? The answer is going to be yes. Here, this is an untapped source that is just waiting in the wings. It's just biting at the bit to be utilized. Alexa is your untapped source. Alexa, Siri, and of course, Google Home. Alexa has various tools or skills that can be used to enhance being a virtual agent. You can customize skills to allow or to share with your clients or your potential clients to be able to help them do real estate searches, right? You can set up a skill where if you can have your properties outlined, and based on certain questions, we'll talk about the properties, and of course, give your information to your client or send the information to you. You can give property information at a property. So you can have Alexa in the home, and if you have internet connection and you're not there, if someone goes, Alexa, tell me about this home, and based on your skill, Alexa will now all of a sudden start to talk about all of the necessary things about the property. You can also, with your past clients, set up a skill with vendor information. So if your client closes escrow, you give them the Echo Dot as a closing gift and tell them, enable this skill. Now you'll have access to the various vendors. So that way, if a client with your skill enabled says, Alexa, find me a contractor, then you can have it set up in a way that Alexa goes and recommends your top 3 contractors or your electricians or your gardeners or your pool guys or whoever. You can even set up Alexa to be your virtual office assistant. You can have Alexa set up an appointment. Alexa, book my calendar. Alexa, call this person. Alexa, do this. Alexa, do that. All voice. Because we know how busy your life is. And there is an Alexa skill that you can set up for your team to get trained on. So they can basically, Alexa gives a lecture and then she could ask questions and answers and let them know if they got it right or wrong. So it's a great tool to have your agents trained. And of course, advertising, the flash brief. The flash brief is a mini podcast. Funny enough, the mini podcast is 10 minutes long. Look at that. You can even, in your advertising, allow Alexa, if you put your skill to the world or to the public, to be found on Amazon or Google or YouTube or wherever. This will allow them to generate or allow you to generate leads because your information is being given to people that you don't even know. And now they call you and go, hey, I got your skill. I'm curious about these properties. Can you tell me more? Basically, what this will allow you to do is expand or extend your digital footprint, which is huge. Basically, it's easy to make a skill. Here, you're going to go to that link. And again, if you go to that link, you have a vast amount of skills from your Amazon account to pick and choose and customize. And really, they have tools along the way to tells you how to put each step in. Your custom Q&A. Maybe you make the skill, the Bried group. And in that Q&A skill, if this question is asked, this is how it's to be answered. If this question is asked, this is how it's to be answered. Right? Which now you can put all that together. You even got the flashcard. That's basically the learning skill. Right? So you tell your teammates, enable this skill on Alexa at your home office. That way you can learn or quiz yourself on these matters. Right? You even have a business Q&A section. You've got the section for your flash brief or your podcast, your 10-minute or your actual written blog on the web. You can do all of these skills. And funny enough, these are all free to you. Take advantage of that. So now that you've got the tools and you know about the tools, it's now time for you as an agent to become the virtual agent. So do that today. There are no other questions. I want to thank everybody for attending today's quick webinar. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at 949-586-6800, extension 104, or feel free to email me at Tony, Tony, at ocrealtors.org. I hope everyone has a great and wonderful day, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye-bye.